Always do you hear me? With your Nico Williams. That's right, it's your boy. And I'm back with another one. Now it's not quite Thursday, but I love to usually come to y'all on a Thursday. I usually love to do that, but it's a little different this week. I have a very special week lined up, and I'm very excited for that. So that's why I'm coming to you a little bit earlier. But stay tuned for some of the cool stuff that I have in store. I hope everybody's doing all right. I know it's the second day of the week. Everybody went to work yesterday, and you got one day down. You got another one to go, and you did today. So I'm glad you're here with me today. So let's get right into it. So the topic at hand is a story coming to us out of Louisville. Louisville. I guess it just kind of depends on where you're from. I call it Louisville. It just makes sense. Yeah. So at any rate, March 13th, March 14th, March 15th, that whole time period, the story of Breonna Taylor was brought to our attention. It was brought to the attention and spotlight of the United States of America. Just a quick rundown. Shortly after midnight, March 13th, 2020, Breonna and her significant other were laying down to sleep, waiting for the next day. And some intruders came into their house. Her significant other, Kenneth, decided to shoot at the said intruder. And it turned out it was 3 police officers that were executing a no-knock warrant, which apparently the law says that the police can just come into your house whenever you want to if a judge says that it's okay. So 10 gunshots were let off by the authorities, if you will. And Breonna died in the midst of that due to gunshot wounds. So that is where we at, and that brings me to September 15th, 2020, where it appears that the city of Louisville has partnered up with the attorneys for Breonna Taylor's family, and they have decided on a $12 million settlement. $12 million. Okay. And yeah. That's cool and all. And what's next? So what's next? Because I don't want to sound like I'm just spoiled or I'm entitled or anything like that. That ain't enough. Honestly, you're doing this backwards. They're doing this backwards. First and foremost, first off, when you say we gave them $12 million, the first thing that we're going to say, and the first thing that I said was, oh, okay, and because you missed the most important part of it, was the justice aspect of it. You missed that part of it. Everybody is showing their true colors right now, and I appreciate it because I love to see how you truly are. But I really want to hear that Black people can never be satisfied. I want to hear that argument, because I can tell you right now that I know I'm not in that family, but man, we probably family somewhere down the line. You know how that go. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not smiling because you said, here's $12 million. Will you let this go away? No, I'm not there for that. Because my first thing that I have to say is, okay, cool. So who got arrested for this? Who's in real deal trouble for this that happened? Who is being held accountable for what happened to her? This unsuspecting queen that was just chilling, living her life. You know, her Clark Kent job was helping people. She was an EMT who's striving to do more things, of course, to help people. And I just asked myself, is that it? That's all you have to offer? Because I'm just not there. I don't think that's enough. It's not enough. You did it backwards. You're supposed to arrest these police officers for a murder. And then you can talk about the money aspect of it. Man, nobody was smiling when you say, hey, here's $12 million. Is that okay? No, we don't want that. That's not what we want. What we want is a stop to systemic racism. We want to stop to police just thinking that this is just it. And again, let me reiterate before y'all start, because I don't know who to trust nowadays. Honestly, I don't know, man. I got people that's working, you know, that are police officers. I got people, you know, state troopers, all that stuff around the country. And I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know who really is about that. Like, who is really trying to be a police officer to make the world a better place? Or if you're trying to be a police officer, are you trying to make it a better place for the people that the Declaration of Independence had in mind when it was written? So it's a tough thing, and like I said, I'm here to say that that's cool and all, but that's where I'm at. Now, if her family is content with that, that's cool. But we not. Because I don't feel like you can just kill a family member of mine for no reason and just be like, oh, here's some money. Sorry about that. Whoops. No. Also, they're not really being held accountable for it. Because guess who's being held accountable for this $12 million? It's the taxpayers in Kentucky. It's the taxpayers in Louisville. It's the taxpayers in whatever the hell that county is called. That's who's footing the bill for this. It's not the police department coming out and saying, well, we told everybody put money into this hat. And then that's what we'll offer to them. And it turned out to be $12 million. No, they took this out of the taxpayers, out of their hands. So the people that are accountable for this are the people of Kentucky? The people of Louisville? Is that what's going on here? So it sounds like nobody's taking accountability for this, and the people that are having to pay for it are the taxpayers. And that $12 million could have went to better schooling, could have went to the community for a lot of different things. I'm glad they got something. And on some real stuff, $12 million. Are you telling me that woman's life is worth $12 million? Because we need more zeros on that. Point blank, period. You can't take somebody's life. It's about $12 million. I think give or take. No, that's not it. There are people out here that get on one like 10-day contracts for like $12 million in the NBA. There are people that catch footballs for like on a 1-year contract for $12 million. You're telling me that this woman's life is worth $12 million. I'm sorry. City of Louisville, state of Kentucky, and that punk ass attorney general. What a sellout punk. I'll leave that for another time. Kind of in a sense staying in that lane, because I think that this is very important to talk about. A few days ago, 2 sheriffs in Los Angeles, and they were in Compton, or deputies rather, they were sitting in their vehicle. Someone ran up to their vehicle and shot both of the officers that were in there. It was unprovoked. From what I've seen so far, it was unprovoked, and from what I've heard so far, it was unprovoked. from something that happened in that very moment or that day. Who knows? There could be a provocation from something else. But they were shot and they are fighting for their lives. And the city of Los Angeles and Los Angeles County, they put up a reward for any information on this individual and the conviction of this person for shooting these two officers unprovoked. What makes matters worse in this situation is that the sheriff or chief of police, he's the sheriff. He challenged LeBron James to match the reward that's supposed to go to anybody that has any information about this person, about this individual. This sheriff came off as cocky, crass. I think he was really sending a shot at LeBron. He said, LeBron, I've heard some things you've been saying about, caring about people from all types of different levels. At this point, can you help us with this? Can you put up some more reward for the person that tells us who did this? I don't think he meant that. I don't think he meant for that to come to LeBron, where LeBron be like, you know what, you're right. No, I think he said that as, well, you care about brutality on black people, but what about the brutality on police? Where you stand on that? I don't think for 1 second that this sheriff was coming out there to really try and make something happen. And LeBron, can you help us? He was not pleading for LeBron's help. Let's get this straight. What happened to those officers was wrong because they are human beings. Like, I don't know if this was a random thing. Are these two dickhead cops? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know what provoked that situation. I can't really speak on it because was this really random? Was it thought out? Like, is it these two deputies that sit there on the corner every whatever day that was, or like whatever time of day that was? Who knows? We don't know that. We don't know that. So I can't really speak on that. I do think that I just want people to stop dying, period. Like, or stop being killed, or stop being murdered, stop being injured by one another. I want that. I definitely am behind that. I want that to stop. Point blank, period. I don't care about gangs. I don't care about, police, because sometimes they say that they a gang themselves. I heard that they shot the boy over there in California so the officer could join a gang. Because that's what you get when you kill a minority. You get a tattoo in it. I don't care about that shit. Honestly, and I apologize for cussing, but that's where I'm at with all this. I want all of the killing and all that stuff. I want that to stop, period. I want us to stop killing each other. Let us die from natural causes, things like that. But for people to just blatantly pull triggers and hurt people, I'm not with that. But I don't know what happened. And in this case, from the way it looked like somebody just shot the police, and that was what it was. And whatever beef he had with the police, he decided to do that right then and there. And if that's the case, that's wrong. I'm not for that. The random violence and all that, I'm not here for it. I'm really not. And I don't have an answer in this case, but I do know this. I know that sheriff, Villanueva, you were poking and prodding at LeBron James and what he's trying to do. And you know that he's probably the biggest face of this whole Black Lives Matter movement. Or the fight for civil rights and the fight for just equality, period. He's one of the biggest faces, if not the biggest face. And you were poking and prodding at him. And who was it? Oh, Henry. From the Tennessee Titans, the running back. He wore a suit. Now, the man is like 6'3", like 250 pounds, maybe 6'4", big man. And he wore a suit with the names of all the people that were killed by the police. And it was full to the brim. Like, he literally was probably missing names type of thing. Like, he just put as many as you can on here. That's the suit that he wore for his magazine interview. And we have 2 officers that I'm sure they have a family. I'm sure they have people that care about them. I'm sure they have all those things. We have 2 deputies that were shot by a citizen, I would assume. I'm not sure at this point in time. Nobody has details on it, and hopefully this full story comes out so we can correctly break down what really happened and what this is all about. But challenged LeBron James, and I feel like that was a shot, and it wasn't in an effort to really help anything. I think you were just being cocky and you were just thinking this was your chance. Well, Vanessa Bryant has something to do with that. Now, if you don't know who Vanessa Bryant is, Vanessa is the widow of the late and great Kobe Bryant, Black Mamba, if you will, Kobe Bean Bryant. And she's been more vocal than I think she's been in a long time, you know, especially since the passing of her husband, and her daughter. Rest up, Gigi. But she had this to say about Sheriff Villanueva. She basically said, I know you're not trying to hold people accountable for anything when you let 8 of your deputies share photos of the crash site of my husband. Yeah, people under his watch took pictures at the crash site. They didn't secure it and make sure it could, and luckily those rounds didn't make it around the internet, because I would have been super duper pissed had I was just scrolling and I happened to see my hero in a situation I thought I'd never see him in. I don't even imagine it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I like to pretend like Kobe and Gigi just both kind of like just like they teleported to heaven and God didn't even let them experience that. That's the way I want to believe that, and that's the way I want it to be. But had those pictures that got now, these people are just taking pictures for whatever clout or whatever they're trying to do. You can't even keep them in check, and you trying to tell LeBron James that he needs to step up and no. You handle your own affairs. Because none of this will be happening if your people acted like they were human beings instead of weaklings, instead of being bullies that come out on these streets and bully people because they have a badge, because you have a much bigger gang than everybody else does. But you know, I think about the movie Ants a lot, and I wish that y'all would too. You, my followers, everybody, I wish you would think about Ants. What do you think will happen if they understand that they have more than us? Maybe some real change might actually happen. So I'll keep my eye on that situation. Like I said, I don't want to really give too much of an opinion on that. Only because I just don't know what happened. I saw a man go up to a truck and shoot 2 police officers. There's something behind that, because isn't that what they do to a lot of the light-skinned shooters that do stuff? They try and get all the facts before they say anything. So I'll do the same in this situation. I'll wait until I get all the facts until I can condemn or say anything. You know, kind of like, you know, our president. Our president is waiting for all the facts before he condemns the Kenosha shooter. So I think I could reserve my right to hold my opinion until I figure out all of the facts. Prayers up for those families. Let's keep it in the sports realm. I definitely want to give a big shout out to Naomi for winning that tournament, that old tennis tournament that they had this past weekend. Big ups to her, with her being of Japanese and African descent. I gotta give a big ups to her for her, cause so she wasn't even supposed. She was deciding if she should go into the bubble for this tournament, and she was like, you know, with so much going on, maybe I shouldn't be playing sports. I need to be out here in the streets helping. And I like the fact that she made the decision to continue to play because of the platform that sports really does give you. And that's why I appreciate the people that are in the bubble and they stay in the bubble, even after what happened in Kenosha, even after what happened, in Milwaukee, period. And not Milwaukee, just Kenosha. I'm sorry. And I appreciate them doing this because I feel like I appreciate the fact that they're trying to. They want to be out here in the streets with us and help us out, although they really, in a sense, don't have to be. But I'm really excited that they're deciding to stay on their platform and do what they got to do. And so what Naomi decided to do, Naomi Osaka, by the way, what she decided to do, she had a mask that had all the people that were victims of police brutality, I believe, in every set. In the championship game, she just switched them out. So I think that was a big deal. And she was bringing light because we don't see that unless you're at that tennis tournament. So big ups to her for that. We really appreciate that. She definitely, I'm definitely a big fan of hers at this point. She's definitely like the opposite of Tiger Woods when, man, if y'all can think about Tiger Woods just for a brief second, because I'm not going to give him that much time. But there was a moment there where like all of Black America was like really behind Tiger Woods. It was like, yo, we got a black man in golf, y'all. We got a black man in golf. And we was behind him and we helped drive his sales. And Nike signs him to a great deal and all that. He don't really fool with us as black folk. He's just in his own realm doing what he does. But shout out to this young lady out there handling her business and stepping up and saying, she put it, let me remind you what the B in Blasian stands for. Yes, black. So shout out to her. And she's coming from a couple of different cultures. And I like people that just, in a sense, they embrace all parts of themselves. And I thank her for that. Appreciate you, Queen. You always invited to the cookout. Let's get into the other side of sports, the actual scorekeeping part of it. I had a great time watching NFL football this week. Man, I don't know what to expect this NFL season. I really honestly don't. I don't know what to expect. Cam Newton is out there pretty much just running the ball, throwing short passes. Tom Brady is throwing interceptions like he's Jameis Winston. Russell Wilson throwing four touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns. Phillip Rivers, I gotta say, I was on the fence about him coming to the Colts. Man, I don't know about this. I don't know about none of this. I really don't know. This could be a fluke, but you had Gardner Minshew come out there, mustache and all, and come out there and beat us. I can't call this season. I don't know who's going to be the champion this year. I will tell you that I am rooting for Cam Newton, not the Patriots. I'm rooting for Cam Newton. I'm rooting for Patrick Mahomes. I'm rooting for Russell Westbrook. I'm rooting for Deshaun Watson. Who else am I rooting for? I'm rooting for Dak Prescott. Man, he took a L too. But Undisputed is such a great show when the Cowboys lose. I love it. I love it. And it was the same. It was the same way when First Take was like that too. When the Cowboys lose, I just enjoy talk radio. It's fun. But also when they win, we gotta take that in. And I don't got a problem with the Cowboys. It's just made for such great TV when they lose, and I enjoyed that on so many mornings. Back when Skip was on First Take, I used to always just tape it. I had to be at work at 9 or something. I had to take First Take every Monday just to make sure I get to hear Stephen A. go in on him. And now Uncle Shay killing the game with that, killing the Cowboys. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I'm rooting for Dak. I think he was treated unfairly. And I wasn't a big fan of how Skip Bayless spoke about his depression. That was not a good look. I somewhat understand what he was trying to say, but bro, read the room. Wasn't nobody trying to hear that. You should have just been like, man, I understand. Everybody, like he tried to make it seem like Dak was just sad. And if you didn't know, Dak lost his brother due to depression, due to suicide, and that bothered him, that hurt him. But Skip was talking to him on a sense of like he was depressed because of what was going on in the pandemic, and everybody's a little depressed. Nah, you should have just left that one alone, Skip. That wasn't a good look. But man, I'm seeing a lot of quarterbacks out there. Lamar Jackson, let's see you do it again, man. He had a good game. I'm just excited about the NFL in general because you don't know what to expect. We didn't get to see anything, so that's why I didn't bet on anything. But what I did bet on, I bet on the Heat tonight. The game was Heat by 1.5. They won by 3 points today. So shout out to FanDuel Sportsbook. Shout out to them. I did get my money off of that. Shout out to the Heat for just keep hanging in there. The reason I chose them is just because something about the Heat, I feel like they're just not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. And I don't see them just getting blown out by 20. I feel like each game will be by 1.5. And that's how the Boston-Toronto series was basically 1.5. I think a couple of them was 3.5 a couple of times, but for the most part, it was 1.5. It was a pick'em game for the most part, if you ask me. And that's just the East for you. You just don't know who's going to actually hit more threes that day. Like, and this game was 117 and 114, so Heat. So I feel like I got the Heat for the series. I got the Heat going back. I feel like from a talent standpoint, Boston is the better team, but the Heat seem to be playing more of a Western style ball, which calls for you to score 120 points. And I feel like East teams aren't really accustomed to scoring those kind of points. Also, I want to know, where's Kemba Walker? Where are you? Because your team needs you. Because if you just score, I don't know, 4 points, 4 more points than you did, you win. Shout out to the shooters that are on the Heat as well, because they're giving you 3-pointers that you typically aren't accustomed to getting when you play in the East. So it's going to be crazy. But wait for the bubble. I got one for you. Wait for the bubble. We'll have another episode. Me and Ian, we have our show, The Bubble, where we get into all NBA action going on in the bubble. The other game. Game 7 is going on right now. I had to pause my TV because I paused my TV on when it's on ESPN nights. I pause my TV so I can fast forward past Paul Pierce because I just don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it. You the truth, but you don't be telling the truth all the time. So with that being said, I chose, I believe the spread was 6.5, 7.5, something like that. Basically, Denver's just supposed to get blown out the water. I'm not sure what the score is right now, but Denver was up when I came into the studio to talk to y'all. So I got Denver tonight going to the Western Conference Finals to play against my Lakers. So we'll see what happens. I'll have more on that later. But I think about betting. And sometimes you got to think about how the ball rolls. Or did you hit or miss? Well, if you don't want to miss, always holler at your boy Bartholomew on Christian Mingle. I'll be right there, girl, because you can't go wrong with me. Holla at your boy Bartholomew. You know what time it is. I'm on Twitter, Unico_Williams. That's UNIQO_Williams. I'm Unico Williams on everything else. Spotify, Apple Music, Google, YouTube. I'm on all of that. If you go somewhere, you're going to run into me, baby. So, once again, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Do You Hear Me with Unico Williams. I holla.